Hi everyone, welcome, John here, and in this video I'm going to show you the quickest and easiest way to get all of the ASINs off of an Amazon search page. So what I mean by that is the actual ASIN identifying number from Amazon, and the search page is basically when you type something in the search bar, it returns this page back. Now if we look at the search term that I've got here and the results, we can see that there is this div with a data-ASIN attribute that has that information in. If you don't know what the ASIN does, if you take that bit of data that is unique to that product, so I open up another page and I change the URL just quickly to this one and paste the ASIN after it, it takes us directly to that product page. This is really useful for when you're trying to get lots of information, lots of data out of Amazon. So because that is in this attribute here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use request HTML to render the page for me, and I'll show you why that's important in a minute. And I'm going to get all of the elements that have this attribute on it. So let's get started. I'm going to do from requests underscore HTML. I'm going to import the HTML session, and this is the one we need. And then I'm going to create an instance of that session. So I'm going to do s is equal to HTML session. Don't forget the brackets at the end in this one. And then we want to do r for our response is equal to s for our session dot get, and then I'm going to put the URL and we're going to go grab that in just a second. What we want to do after this is we need to do r.html.render, because what that's going to do is it's going to get request HTML to go out and render the page for us. So it uses a lightweight Chromium browser all in the background, which is quite quick and easy, and it's going to load the page up and it's going to return all the HTML to us that we can then interrogate just as if we were looking at the DOM in the inspect element tool. There's two things to note about this. If this is the first time that you run the render method, the command here, it will download the little browser for you. So don't worry that that's going to happen. And the second thing to note is that you can't run this command in a Jupyter notebook because it ties up the event loop which it needs to run. So with those out of the way, I'm going to do r.html.render, and I always like to add in a sleep just to give it a bit of time. Now sleep is equal to 1 works for me. If you have a slower internet connection, you might want to up this number a little bit more if you're not finding that you're getting the data back that you were expecting. Okay, so now I can go ahead and I'm going to give myself a little bit of room, and I'm going to go and grab the URL from the page. I copy it up here, and you'll notice that if you're doing this following along, that your URL, is much longer. You can chop it off. You only need the bit up to the last search term word. So for example, we can see that this is searching for 2 words, so you only need the S, the question mark K and equal to, and then your search term here. So if you only had 1 word, you don't need the plus. If you have multiple words, add them together with pluses. This will work just fine for you. What I'm going to do now to test that this is working is I'm going to print out the title of the page. So I'm going to do print, and I'm going to say r.html.find because we want to find an element on this page, and I'm going to use the selector of title. And as I've done this plenty of times before, I know that there are multiple titles on this page. So I'm going to do first is equal to true, and then I'm going to do dot full text so I can get the text back of this element. So if I run that here and we do Python 3 and it is called ASIN scraper, this should return us the text of the element that is the title of the page, which it does just there. And we can see that that matches the title up here. I'm actually now going to just comment this out because we don't need this. And the next thing we want to do is to find all of the elements that matched that attribute that we looked at earlier. So I'm going to say products is equal to r.html.find again, and our selector that we want to use is, it was a div tag, and the attribute, so we're going to open up the brackets to search for the attribute, was data-ASIN. So what this is going to do is it's only going to return elements that have this attribute in them. And we are going to assume that if it has this attribute, then it must have the ASIN attached. Although in some cases it doesn't, but I'll show you a way to get around that in just a minute. I'm now going to print this out, and hopefully we are going to get back a load of elements that we can just check to see that we are looking at the right thing. Okay, so that has worked and we are returning elements. So now I'm going to just remove this line and I'm going to create a basic loop to loop through each one and pull the information out of that attribute that we were just looking at. Now I'm going to do for products, product in products. You don't need to do this line. You could make it so it was just this part, but for the sake of it, I've already done it. So I'm going to do this. Actually, I'm going to create a quick blank list. So we can then say asins.append to write to our list. And I'm going to go for we need to append product because we're looking for product, which is each of the elements. So we're saying product is in each individual element through our list. And we want to do .attrs, and the one we want is the one we were just talking about, data-asin. So what that's going to do is it's going to go through each of the elements which we have called product. It's going to get the information from the attribute data-asin, which is the actual ASIN number that we want, and it's going to append it to our ASIN list. And after this, we want to print ASINs. So I'm going to save that, to clear that up, or we'll run it again, and we should get a list of ASINs back, which we do. Now it's just behind me here. You can just about see there are some that have come back blank. Now I've run into this quite a few times, and I find that a nice easy way around that is to just put a if statement in here to basically say if they are blank, or just an empty thing, we don't include them, so we're going to ignore them. So what we can do is if we do if product dot attrs and the data dash asin is not equal to this, then we can go ahead and append it to our list there. So if I save that and we run this again, we should get only complete ASINs back, no empty spaces. And we can see that the ones that were blank at the end are now gone, and we have a complete list of ASINs. And if we just do, let's print the length. So if we just print the length, let's save that. And run again, we should get, I think, 25 or so back. 22. Now it's worth noting that we are only looking for 16 results, and that is just, I think, because of the way that the render works on the page. But it does pick up some other things that, for example, I'm running an ad blocker. It does pick those up as well. However, we have just gone out and got all of the ASINs from that individual page. The next thing that we could do is we could take each one of these from this list, and we could go out to the actual product page and then retrieve the product information from that as well. So this is a really nice and easy way to do this, nice and simple. It's quite quick, although if you're going to do hundreds of these, it's obviously going to take a bit of time because we need to render the page. So on that subject, if I was to remove the render part here, which you only need for websites that do anything dynamically like JavaScript, or in this case where it blocks you, like you'll see, if I was to now save this without the render command and run it again, we're going to get nothing back. It's because the page that it sends us to is not the right page with all the information. It basically blocks us because it thinks we're a bot. I find this is just the easiest way to scrape Amazon these days. So that's it, guys. Hopefully you found that useful. This is, I think, the easiest way to get the ASINs off of the search page from Amazon. This will work on Amazon.com as well, or whatever Amazon site, as long as it has that specific div data ASIN that we were looking for here. It's also a really useful way to know how to get information out by using the CSS selector, targeting the attribute, and then pulling the data from the attribute and saving it into a list. So if you found value in this, guys, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and drop a comment below if you are interested in this sort of thing, what you're working on, let me know, and subscribe for more web scraping content. I have lots on my channel already and more to come, videos like this, as well as more sort of information videos as well coming. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.